Hello everyone, welcome back to another Joseki video. Today we'll basically continue on the high approach on the 3-4 point. So last time, just quickly recap, we talked about the one space low pincer. This is very common and black follows up with the 3-3, and I said what you can do is to play very simple and guard your corner, and um, in the meantime also making your C13 stone really strong to destroy any potential that black has on the bottom side. So that's a quick recap. We also talked about the context in which the choice of your Joseki could be exceptionally good. That's when black actually has a lot of influence on the bottom side. You would want to have your basically you would want to strengthen your C13 stone to destroy the bottom side. So that's usually something to keep in mind. Today we will keep working on the same Joseki, but this time we'll talk about another main variation at E14. So this is also a very old Joseki. However, let me state the conclusion first. So E14 is no longer an excellent move. Okay, so this will lose you a little bit of win rate. So for those people who are not, for my viewers who are not so updated with AI theories and stuff, I'll state that this E14, I really don't recommend you to play E14 basically, because white has very good ways to deal with black's E14. So E14, first of all, it's a Kosumi, so it's quite slow. Also, it's on the fifth line, and it serves one purpose, and the purpose is just to cut white off. Right? It's saying, hey, you cannot really connect yourself anymore, because if you connect yourself, I will have ways to cut you off. So that's basically the idea behind the E14. It's looking at 2 points. One is to pincer white at F17. The other one is to try to pressure white at D12. So it's creating a Mii situation, and it could seem a little bit difficult to deal with at first glance. But today I'll present you the solution to fight against E14. So the move I recommend to my viewers is to patiently play a 2-space extension. So this is an excellent move. It's getting rid of one threat, right? It's saying you no longer have this F17 pincer threat. So what about the Mii? What about, what about if black pressures, right? If it pressures, so if you're not very familiar with what's going on here, let's say you just play out like this because you want to be safe and everything. This is probably okay. The problem with this is what black is able to gain a lot of influence towards the outside, and we might end up having to invade later on and being the one getting attacked. So to avoid all of that, white now has an excellent move. When black pressures, white now has my recommendation move, that is for you to play C15. But wait a second, I just said white cannot connect. So why do we still try to connect? Well, the point is to not connect at all. Alright, the point is to secure our corner and secure the territory and stay very solid. So black follows up with C16. White will cut, and black Ataris. White descends. Black has to cut white off, and white says, fine, I will be cut off, and there's no problem. So first of all, let's examine what's going on the board. White is able to secure a very large corner, right? And in the meantime, we can observe black has 5 stones trying to capture 1 stone. But really, there's still Aji, right? It's not a clean capture because later on, if black is not careful, white has ways to break out like this. So this is actually not very easy to deal with. If you connect here, white can just push out, and black is under a lot of pressure actually, right? You cannot catch these three guys, and then you'll be the one under attack. But if you block this way, white can Atari, and then either capture or turn, but I think capture is also great. And then white is able to gain even more territory. So black spent 5 stones over concentrating on in this area. In the meantime, still have a weakness at d13. So this is not really acceptable for black, to be honest. Uh, and that is why this d12 is no longer, I'd say it's no longer a valid threat to white, because white can just simply take the corner and be very happy about it, right? If you just play out like this, you'll be leading immediately, right? You have a large corner. This corner has no problems. And then the person who's having problem is your opponent because there's a rebellion possibility here. So, so yeah, basically at this point, also black cannot just do just let white connect, because if you just let white connect like this, white's corner is even larger, and the black has a weakness outside, right? So black has a cutting point, obviously, because if you play without thinking, this cutting point is very, very disastrous for black. So none of this is really acceptable when white attaches. Another possibility is for black to wedge, but there's absolutely no problem for white. White can Atari on the second line, black Ataris, white takes, black connects, and then white plays d13, black blocks, white hanes, and black has to turn at c17 if he wants to destroy the corner, and then white pulls the stone back, black jumps to fix the cutting point, and white pushes at g16. So black still has to worry about the cutting point, so he needs to extend, and white makes a 2-space extension. At first glance, it seems like black was able to destroy territory, but in fact, white was able to transfer the profits into 2 areas, and then both groups are very safe. And in the meantime, black has no points, right? As we can see, black does not have a single point that we can count, because none of the points is secured. So black has 0 points, and white has 2 very safe groups with points to compensate for the loss of corner. So this is also a leading game for white. So we look at the variations for black's shoulder hit at d12. We'll also look at another possibility, that is for black to attach into the corner. But as you can all tell, this is a similar story. This is kind of a review of our last lecture, right? White is going to play exactly the same variation when a black wedges. White will Atari. Black can Atari first. White descends. Black connects. And then we have the Tsuji at b16 to fix everything. Black blocks, and white kills the stone. And then black will play 1-space pincer to basically attack white's g17 stone. So first of all, white is able to gain a lot of territory, but also we can see a very inefficient stone at e14 that is not really doing much, right? This is a very, very inefficient move on the board. And in the meantime, this g17 stone that white has also has the possibility to come out. For now, my recommendation, if you actually reach this point as white, you can go ahead and play somewhere else because there are a lot of big moves later on. But if you like to fight, just quickly introduce the follow-up in this local area. White will attach, black honeys, white pulls back, there's a cutting point, so black fixes, and then white peeps. Black needs to fix, and white jumps. Black needs to respond because if you just run, white's shape is way too good, right? Like white can, yeah, even like this is way too good, and white can take the corner. So to destroy the shape, black will play this one. It's very important for development over here. White plays a beautiful move to get rid of the cutting point, and black jumps. And then white is also going to jump. Black will attach. And then after these exchanges, black will jump out. So this is a fighting game. But as we can see, white has absolutely no problem, right? Like white has a very good shape. White can follow up with this push. So white is a very, very nice group. And black obviously has to run for a few more moves. And this is a leading game for white as well. So yeah, that's what's gonna happen if you want to follow up. It's not bad. It's not a bad choice either. But I really recommend you to play anywhere else, as long as it's a big move. This is also a leading game for white, mostly because when you have an inefficient stone on the board like this, this is not going to be pleasant. This is not going to make you win the game, these kind of stones. Right? And it was actually the E14 Kosumi stone that resulted in these consequences, right? So, which is why I did not recommend E14 Kosumi in the first place. So I think that's pretty much what I want to talk about for today's Joseki. I would not call E14 a real Joseki. I think it's a little bit, it's not optimal. It's not an optimal move. You can actually play C17 if you want. That's a legit move. But E14, it really depends on the situation. If black has a strong wall over here, maybe he can think about playing E14, right? That would be a more interesting choice for black. But this is not the case on the board. So choose E14 very carefully, right? Because otherwise, white has very strong counterplay, and it's not very easy to deal with. So let's quickly recap. If black plays E14, I believe you will still encounter this in your game sometimes. We first play G17. If black pressures out stone, we can just sacrifice the stone by attaching. And then after these forcing sequence, we have some aji going on later on, and then we have solid territory. Very good for white, right? Very simple to see that this is very good for white. And of course, if black wedges, we cannot retreat now because we have to basically Atari at B14. And black is going to Atari here. White will take, black connects, white connects here. Notice here, black really does not have time to let white break out like this, right? Like if you break out like this, this area is way too strong. So black needs to protect this crucial point by blocking. White will play the corner move and then drag the stone out, leaving a cut. Black fixes, and then white makes a two-space extension. And this is kind of the end of the variation where the loss of corner is compensated by very solid two groups with points. So this is also a leading game for white. And finally, if black, still goes back to the 3-3 attach, we can use the knowledge from last time. Then we have this Tsuji that fixes everything. Black blocks, white turns. Black makes the pincer, and then I talked about the follow-up locally, but right now you can just go ahead into new key, and then later on, if you want to come out, I'm just going to quickly present the follow-up again. So you can peep this a little bit later, you can peep it immediately, it doesn't matter. You will reach this formation, and then black hops out, and white hops out. Right after these exchanges, black hops out. Black obviously cannot, do this, right? Because these guys might just, I don't know. I don't even know if these guys can live. So black needs to run. Very important move. And then what can push here, limit black's development. So obviously, visually, we can see white's group is a lot stronger than black's group. And then white has already cash on hand. So this is a very pleasant game moving on for white as well. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoy this Joseki lecture. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and talk to you guys next time.